Good afternoon, P4. Welcome to our first lesson of primary maths. Now, we're going to do this lesson with a video, and I'll let you do a little bit of work in your Inside Out book, but we'll come to that in a minute. But I just want to say a big welcome to P4, and yeah, I'm gonna take you through what's going to be in our primary math course, and then we're going to talk a little bit about spelling numbers and writing them out in the numeral form and the word form, and then I'll let you, as I say, practice a little bit in the book. Now, I'll jump us over to there.
Okay guys, so let's quickly talk about the topics we'll be covering in Term 1. So in Term 1, we will start with the fundamentals of problem solving. Let's get our little laser pointer out. Here we are. So we'll be talking about ways we can solve word problems in English, and we'll also be talking about rounding numbers, about naming numbers, writing numbers, lots of numbers. So that's going to be our first topic in Term 1. After that, we're going to talk about the order of operations. So this is how we can take real-world information and put it into a number sentence, or an equation, as we would call it in mathematics. And that's going to be super fun, super interesting. And then we're going to talk about time. Problems of time, finding out how long things last, and telling the time. In Term 2, we'll talk about fractions, which we'll get to later, decimals and quadrilaterals, which are basically four-sided shapes. We'll find how we find the perimeter and the area of these shapes. Cool, so let's jump straight into today's topic on writing numbers. Now, for numbers, two different ways we can write them are a numeral form, which is just where you write the individual numbers that make one bigger number, and the word form, which is how we would write or spell or say the word. Okay, so if we read the numeral form, we've got 5, 3, 1, 7, 5, 6. But of course these all have place values, and when we read them out with their place values, we would say it would be 531,000, because these are all thousands, right? 756. Now, you'll have heard I'm saying "and" a lot whenever, let's get our little pen out actually, or highlighter. Was highlighter easier? Yeah, oh, it's the same color. What color of highlighter should we use? Let's use red. I like red. Okay, so whenever we have some tens and ones, and we have a number that comes just before the tens and the ones, we have to put our "and" in, okay? So if it's 531, we have to say it as 531. 756, okay? What about if I had a 1,000, no hundreds, no tens, and a 1? Would I put an "and" in here? What do you think? Yes or no? Would I say 1001 or 1001? Well, if you said the second, you'd be right. We would need an "and" for here. This would be 1001, because we have something in front of a 10 or a 1. Okay, if there's something to this side of it, you need to put an "and." Okay? All right. Let's go into another example, shall we? Here we have some circles which are representing hundreds of thousands in the brown, tens of thousands in the green, thousands in the blue, hundreds in the purple. There would be tens in red, but in this example, we don't actually have any tens. Oh, I've forgotten how to clear that. Erase, there we are. And then ones are our little dark blue circles. Okay, so let's count how many 100,000s we've got here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we've got 400,000s, when we're writing it out, we would put a 4 in the 100,000s place. 1, 2, 3, 3 in the tens of thousands place. 2, 2 in this place, in the thousands place. How many hundreds? There's 100, so 1 in the hundreds place. Oh, we've not got any tens, so what do we put in the tens place? We put a 0, exactly right. And in the ones, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 ones, giving us a 5. So we've been able to look at a picture representing how many of each type of place we've got and turn it into an numeral form. Next, we've got the word form. So how would we read this number out in English? So we'd start with our thousands. How many hundreds? There's 430 and a 2. So 432,000. 432,000. And then we've got 105. Okay, well, that's 100. And, because there's something before the tens and the ones, so we have to have an and. 100, and we don't have to say 0 tens, so we just skip it. 105. So 432,105. And when we get to our comma, we can just give a little pause or take a little deep breath. So 432,105. Easy peasy, right? Next, oh, this time we've got big black circles with 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. What are those? Those are millions. You're quite right. So we've got 1, 2, 3 in our millions place. So we write a 3 and we do a little comma so we can start our thousands. How many hundreds of thousands do we have? We've got 100,000, so we put a 1 in here. How many 10,000s? Well, that's a 0, so we don't have any, 0. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000. Boop, put a 5 in. Now, do we have any hundreds? No. Boop. Any tens? No. Boop. Any ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones. Cool. So that gives us 3,100,000. We don't have to say the 0. So 105. We need to put an and in here. And 5,000. And then, 006. So 3,105,000. Do you think we say 6 or and 6? What do you think? We put an and in here. Boom. And, what does that say 9? That should be saying 6. Let's just scribble that out with our pen. Too much scribbling. And 6. Cool. Okay. So, because we've got all this stuff in front of our, we've got all this stuff here in front of our 10 and our 6, we're going to have to still write and. So this would become 3,105,006. Not 9, 6. Cool. Okay, this time, no millions this time. How many hundred thousands? 200,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Oh, hang on. Does 7 go in the tens of thousands or the thousands? It goes in the thousands. We put a 0 in the tens of thousands and we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the thousands. How many hundreds? 1, 2, 3, 3 hundreds. How many ones? Tens, sorry. How many tens? 110. And how many ones? 2 ones. Okay. So, again, we're going to have to put an and in here. So, 207, 7, not 9, 7. Let's just quickly. 7 S E V E N. There we are. 207,000, and then we're going to have 310,2. No, we don't. We're not going to say 10,2. This becomes 12. You're right. So it's 312. I've just used a purpley, violety color to show that the 1 and the 2 have come together into the number 12. So we would also say, if there was a 12 up here, that would be 212,000. So when we have the 1 and 110 and one of our special numbers, so 11, 12, we would use them 13, 14, 15, etc. Okay, next one. 8 million. Let's read this together. 8 million 12,999. Okay, let's try and write this out bit by bit. So first, 8 million. Well, that's just an 8, isn't it? 12,000. 12,000. 12,000. How do we write 12,000? What's the first number we'll write for 12,000? Is it a 1? No. It's a 0. We need to show that there's no hundreds of thousands. And then we write our 1 and our 2. So 12 gets put in here, but because we're writing a big long number, we need to put a 0 in to show there's no hundred thousands, right? Then 999. Easy peasy. 8 million. Put a 0 in because there's no hundred thousands. 12,999. Easy. Next, 376,088. So 376,000. What's the first number? We have 3. Good. 76 we write as 7 and 6. Good. Our little comma to show we've finished with our thousands. And then and 88. Okay. And 88. 88. 88. What do we need first for 88? We need a 0 because there's no hundreds in 88. Then we go 8 and 8. So 376,000 and 88. And 88 on the end here. Cool. Okay. 50,112. 50,000, 55,000. Okay. What's the... So we're going to write we can write a 0 first for no hundreds of thousands. Then we write 50,000, 5 and 0. 112, so that's going to be 112 we write as 1 and 2. Okay, now because there's no number before the brown 0, before the hundred of thousands, we don't need to keep it here, so we don't have to actually write that first 0. If there was a million in front, if we had a million, then we would need to write our 0. But because there's no millions, we don't have to write our 100 thousands, okay? Cool. 50,112. Excellent. Okay, guys. I'm going to jump over to the workbook now and show you what we're going to be doing in there today. All right?
Okay, guys, and then we're going to do a little bit of work in our Inside Out book. So just turn to page 1. For the first 2 here, I just want you to count up
the types of numbers. So we've got 1, 2, 300,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And 1,000. Then 110, 100, 110, and 1. Okay, and do the same for down here. For these ones, I'd like you to count the numbers that are shown. In the numeral form, I want you to write the numbers. So we've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we would write 7. Pardon me. How many tens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 tens of thousands. How many thousands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Then we're going to count the hundreds, which are 2. Oops, don't need to come in there. The tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And how many ones? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ones. And then in words, we're going to have to write it out as 700. And remember, we need an and because there's something before our tens and ones. And 65,000, comma, and then 200. And again, we're going to need an and 84. Okay? We're doing the same thing here. And here we're just writing in words, okay? So for this one, you'd be writing, say for this, it would be what, 5,113,400. So writing that in this style. So we're going, ooh, 5 million 100. Yeah. So you're finishing them like that. So I'd like you to do page 1 and 2. And then I'd like you to do exercise 6 in page 3 as well, please. So this time you're reading the number and you're writing it as a numeral. Okay, so you're writing it in the written number form. So 712,005. So 712,000 and 5 and 5. There's no hundreds, no tens, but there is a 5. Okay, and then write it in the time numeral as well, which I'm afraid I don't actually know myself. But okay, so when you finish these, can you please take a picture of the pages that you've finished, and you can either submit that on the line group, or you can pop that into the Google Classroom appointment for P4. If people need help with submitting on Google Classroom, I can do a little video on my phone to show you how to do that better. Just let me know, okay? All right, thanks very much.